Photorespiration. Otto Warburg made an observation that O2 inhibits the photosynthesis. Okay, oxygen is inhibiting photosynthesis, and this is happening in C3 plants. Okay, so in your C3 plants, O2 inhibits photosynthesis. Now this phenomenon was originally known as Warburg effect. What is Warburg effect? In case of C3 plants, the O2 inhibits photosynthesis. That is your Warburg effect. Now this Warburg effect is also known as light dependent release of carbon dioxide due to oxygenase activity of Rubisco enzyme. Okay, Rubisco enzyme shows oxygenase activity, and because of this there is light dependent release of carbon dioxide. This is your Warburg effect. Okay, due to this O2 is inhibiting the photosynthesis in C3 plants. Now this Rubisco enzyme is bifunctional enzyme. So Rubisco enzyme is bifunctional enzyme. What do you mean by that? Okay, Rubisco enzyme catalyzes both reaction, that is carboxylation as well as oxygenation of RUBP. Okay, so this RUBP is being carboxylated or oxygenated in the presence of Rubisco enzyme, and that is the reason why Rubisco enzyme is bifunctional enzyme. At low CO2 concentration, when the concentration of carbon dioxide is low, Rubisco enzyme performs the oxygenation of RUBP. Okay, RUBP is oxygenated in the presence of Rubisco enzyme when there is low concentration of carbon dioxide. Now due to the oxygenation of RUBP, there is formation of 3-phosphoglycerate and 2-phosphoglycolate. Okay, oxygenation of RUBP results in the formation of these two products, that is 3-phosphoglycerate and 2-phosphoglycolate, and this is happening at low CO2 concentration. So this is your ribulose 1,5-bisphosphate, that is RUBP. In the presence of oxygen and H2O and Rubisco enzyme, this ribulose 1,5-bisphosphate gets converted into 2-phosphoglycolate and 3-phosphoglycerate. Okay, these two molecules are produced from this in the presence of O2, H2O and Rubisco enzyme. Now this Rubisco enzyme does the oxygenation of RUBP and 2-phosphoglycolate is produced. Okay, RUBP is converted into 2-phosphoglycolate by Rubisco enzyme. Now this 2-phosphoglycolate which is produced cannot be used in the Calvin cycle. Okay, this which is produced from RUBP by Rubisco enzyme, this 2-phosphoglycolate cannot be used in Calvin cycle. Now the pathway by which this 2-phosphoglycolate is further metabolized is known as glycolate pathway. Okay, by glycolate pathway, this 2-phosphoglycolate molecule is further metabolized. Now this glycolate pathway is also known as C2 cycle, or it is known as oxidative photosynthetic carbon cycle. Okay, by these two cycle, this 2-phosphoglycolate is further metabolized. Okay, these three are the same names. Now this glycolate pathway involves three subcellular compartments, that is chloroplast, peroxisomes and mitochondria. Okay, these three organelles are involved in the glycolate pathway. Now the key feature of this glycolate pathway is the conversion of 2-phosphoglycolate to glycine, and then decarboxylation of two molecules of glycine, carbon dioxide and NH3. Okay, first there is conversion of 2-phosphoglycolate into glycine, and then there is decarboxylation of two molecules of glycine, carbon dioxide and NH3. So in glycolate pathway, first there is conversion of 2-phosphoglycolate into glycine, and this glycine is then decarboxylated into serine. After that, this serine is being converted into 3-phosphoglycerate, and this 3-phosphoglycerate enters the Calvin cycle. So the motto of this glycolate pathway is to convert this 2-phosphoglycolate into 3-phosphoglycerate, which can then enter to Calvin cycle. Now in this process there is release of CO2. Okay, the release of CO2 in this process results in decreased photosynthetic output and limits the plant's biomass production. Okay, so the release of carbon dioxide in glycolate pathway decreases the photosynthetic output and limits the plant's biomass production. Now this C2 cycle, that is also known as glycolate pathway, takes place in three organelles. Okay, that is chloroplast, peroxisomes and mitochondria. In these three organelles the C2 cycle takes place. Now this glycolate is transported from the chloroplast to the peroxisome. Now in peroxisome this glycolate is converted to glycine. After that this glycine is transported from peroxisome to mitochondria. Now in mitochondria the glycine is converted to serine, and in this process the carbon dioxide is evolved. Now this serine is transported from mitochondria back to peroxisome, and in peroxisome the serine is converted to glycerate. Now this glycerate is again transported from peroxisome into the chloroplast. Now in chloroplast the glycerate is phosphorylated and 3-phosphoglycerate is produced, and this 3-phosphoglycerate is then incorporated into the Calvin cycle. So this is C2 cycle or glycolate pathway. Here you can see that three organelles are involved: chloroplast, peroxisome and mitochondria. So from Calvin cycle we get RUBP, and in the presence of oxygen this RUBP is converted into 2-phosphoglycolate. Now in chloroplast this 2-phosphoglycolate is converted into glycolate. Then this glycolate is transferred to peroxisome, where this glycolate is converted into glycine. Now from peroxisome this glycine is transported to mitochondrion, where this glycine is converted into serine in mitochondrion, and this serine which is produced in mitochondrion is transported back to peroxisome, where this serine is converted into glycerate. Now in peroxisome there is formation of glycerate. Now from peroxisome this glycerate is transported back to the chloroplast, where this glycerate is converted back to 3-phosphoglycerate, and this 3-phosphoglycerate then enters the Calvin cycle. So that this is how the metabolism of this 2-phosphoglycolate happens, and this is your C2 cycle or glycolate pathway. Now let's read about effect of temperature. Now we saw that the concentration of oxygen and carbon dioxide affects the rubiscose oxygenase activity. But there is one more thing that affects the rubisco oxygenase activity the most, and that factor is temperature. Temperature affects the rubiscose oxygenase activity the most. High temperature promotes oxygenation, and if oxygenation is being promoted then photorespiration will take place. Okay, that is formation of your 2-phosphoglycolate. that would be promoted at high temperatures. Now at high temperatures, the solubility of carbon dioxide decreases more rapidly as compared to the solubility of oxygen. And that is the reason why you have more oxygen as compared to carbon dioxide, and that is the reason why at high temperature oxygenation is being promoted, and that is the reason why photorespiration takes place. At high temperature, the specificity factor of the Rubisco enzyme decreases. That is the reason why at high temperature photorespiration is being promoted. That is, at high temperature, rather than incorporation of carbon dioxide into RUBP will be oxygenated and glycolate pathway will take place.